So when it comes to 4K streaming, you've really got two heavyweights duking it out, Roku and Apple. But behind those shiny logos, there's a huge difference in how they think, and maybe more importantly, how much they cost. So let's figure out what you're really paying for here. I mean, this is the central question of this whole debate, isn't it? With a potential price difference this big, you have to stop and ask yourself, am I buying a better way to watch my shows, or am I just, paying for the hype? So on one side, you have the Roku Ultra. It's the practical, get-the-job-done choice. And on the other, the super premium, powerhouse Apple TV 4K. Today, we are going to cut through all that marketing noise to find out which one actually deserves a spot in your living room and its price tag. Okay, let's kick things off with the most obvious difference, the one that hits your wallet first. We're talking about the price. And as you're about to see, this is not a small gap we're talking about here. Just look at that number for a second. $90. That's the kind of premium you could be paying for choosing Apple over Roku. So the big question is, what on earth does that extra $90 actually get you? Okay, so here's the breakdown. You've got the Roku Ultra sitting comfortably around that $100 mark. But then you look over at the next Apple TV 4K, and rumors have it starting around $160, maybe even more. Right away, that puts it in a totally different league, and you've got a major decision on your hands. So, does all that extra cash actually buy you better performance? I mean, Apple is famous for its ridiculously powerful chips, but does that raw muscle even matter when you're just trying to fire up Netflix? Let's pop the hood and check out the specs. So on paper, let's be real, this isn't even a fair fight. The rumored A17 Pro chip in the new Apple TV would be an absolute beast. We're talking next-gen Wi-Fi 7, a ton of storage. It wins in every single category here. But, and this is a really big but, does any of that actually matter for streaming? And this quote just hits the nail on the head. While Roku is kind of secretive about its chips, anyone who's used one knows it's incredibly fast for what it's built to do, which is stream video. For probably 99% of us, all that extra horsepower in the Apple TV might never even get used. And let's have some real talk about the networking for a second. Yeah, that shiny new Wi-Fi 7 sounds amazing, but unless you've got a top-of-the-line router and super fast gigabit internet, you are just not going to see a benefit over the rock-solid Wi-Fi 6 that Roku already offers. For 4K streaming, it's already more than enough. All right, let's move on from the spec sheets, because what really matters is the day-to-day, right? How do these devices actually feel to use when you're just sitting on the couch trying to find something to watch? This is where you actually live with the device. In the clicks of the remote, the way the menus flow, it's not about raw power. It's about simplicity, speed, and whether it's just easy to use. And right here, you can see two totally different ways of thinking. Apple's interface is super polished and elegant. It just feels premium. Roku, on the other hand, is built for one thing, speed. It's a simple, no-frills grid of apps that gets you where you want to go instantly without any fancy animations getting in the way. Voice control is another huge difference. Apple kind of locks you into their world with Siri, which is awesome if you're all in on Apple stuff. But Roku plays nice with everybody. It works with its own voice system, plus the two biggest ones out there, Alexa and Google Assistant. That's a massive win for flexibility. So if just watching a movie is pretty similar on both, where is all that extra money for the Apple TV actually going? Let's really dig into these premium features that make up that price gap. And here it is. This is the main split. The Apple TV wants to be the command center for your entire digital life, your smart home, your gaming console, your fitness tracker. Roku has one job, and one job only, streaming. And it focuses on offering the absolute widest range of channels, including a ton of free stuff that Apple really doesn't seem to care about. This chart just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly illustrates the issue with Apple's gaming push. Sure, that A17 Pro chip has console-level power, but the reality is only a teeny tiny fraction of people will ever use it for serious gaming. For everyone else, it's just really expensive, wasted potential. You know, there's a name for this. It's called feature mismatch. And it's the core problem here. It's when you pay a big premium for a spec sheet full of awesome-sounding features that you will probably never, ever actually use in your day-to-day life. Now, let's get into some honest truths here, the stuff other reviews might gloss over. With Roku, the catch is you're going to see ads on your home screen. That's part of how they keep the price down. On the flip side, with Apple's walled garden, if you don't already own iPhones and HomePods, a lot of its coolest features just feel disconnected and kind of pointless. Okay, we've torn down the price, we've looked at the power, we've dissected the features. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's land this plane and figure out which one of these devices is the right choice for you. So who should actually buy the Apple TV 4K? Well, it makes total sense if you are already deep in the Apple ecosystem. If you want a powerful hub for your smart home, if you're going to take Apple Arcade seriously, and if you're willing to pay more now to future-proof your setup. If that's you, go for it. But for pretty much everyone else, the Roku Ultra is the no-brainer here. If your #1 priority is getting the best bang for your buck, a simple, lightning-fast experience that's all about streaming and works with any voice assistant you want, then this is your device, hands down. So here's the bottom line. For the vast majority of people out there, the Roku Ultra is just the smarter choice. It gives you a fantastic 4K streaming experience without making you pay for a bunch of high-powered features you're probably never going to touch.
So let's be super clear. Paying more for the Apple TV isn't necessarily a bad decision, but it's a niche one. It's for a very specific kind of user, and it really shouldn't be the default choice for somebody who just wants to stream their favorite shows in 4K.
And really, that's what this all boils down to. Just forget the hype, forget the brand names for a minute. Take a hard look at the features, think about how you actually watch TV, and ask yourself this simple question: what am I actually willing to pay for?